phone line again and speak to senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and also political analyst, Dr. Jonathan Asantotri. Doc, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time on 505.
Thank you, Kennedy.
I'm sure that you are equally disappointed in the Supreme Court's ruling on this matter.
Disappointed? No. Surprised? No. Because, if you ask me, the record of the Supreme Court pre or post the time of Mr. Mahama up to now has not been anything new. I mean, my problem is that this regular interference of the Supreme Court in the affairs of the legislature will come to harm all of us tomorrow. Probably they are looking at the practicality of the new status quo and how it could affect government business. That's the more reason why they might have taken such a decision.
Doc, sorry to cut you. You think the Supreme Court interfered in this matter? Is it not a case of interpretation?
Well, because, I mean, the Speaker and Parliament has gone nowhere. Why should they seek ex parte without hearing the other side? That, for me, is done out of bad faith. And you see, it is not about looking at the action and the decision of the Supreme Court today. We may regret the architecture of the Supreme Court tomorrow. Because, you see, we do not have an upper ceiling of the Supreme Court. So, what is happening now is that should there be a change in government, you must expect the new president to equally pack up that place and make those there redundant, because their orientation is virtually towards a particular political party. Therefore, he will equally want to have his people in the Supreme Court, and they will be dealing with the case. But that time, are we going to regret not criticizing and condemning the actions of the current Supreme Court, or we are going to plead on the new president to do the needful? When in actual fact, in this period, we did not ask them to do the right thing. You see the point? So, well, I can foresee that they will want to hardly deal with the case. But at first, I thought that, well, asking them to stay execution, okay, I don't know when they are going to determine. They say pending determination. But if the MPP had principle, if they were principled enough, Mr. Afenyomarkin is saying that, as for them, they believe in law, blah, 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 and that these people, they will have to go back to Parliament and do their own thing, do their own businesses. So, was it not the same principle that you used against Mr. Tiama before the 2020 elections? Has the principle changed all of a sudden? Because you don't have the numbers? Suddenly the activities of Mamle Morrison and that of Kojo Asante will not affect the chances of the MPP in these constituencies. So, you see, this lack of principle on the part of the way our politicians handle affairs leaves much to be desired. To be frank with you. But you see, when the Supreme Court is being roped into things of that nature, things that are poisoned with partisanship, I fear for the integrity of the Supreme Court tomorrow. I fear for them.
I see. Now, when Professor Michael Quay declared a seat vacant in the 2020 election, many said that it was a bad precedent he set. That of Alban Gbagben's ruling or declaration as well, people said that he rushed into the issue. Now the Supreme Court has given a ruling that he should have given a fair hearing to these four MPs before declaring their seats vacant.
KOJ, ask yourself, what is the constituent of this hearing? What is the constituent of this hearing? these people have decided to go, what is it called, independent.
Mm-hmm.
The evidence is there. What is the evidence? Notice of poll.
Yeah.
What else do you want to hear from them? That the reason for cross-carpeting is that the hearing. I believe that natural justice stipulates that he who accuses someone, the accused, must be heard. No two ways about that. But I don't see how this particular hearing will affect anything. Is it a matter of they're going to pick law at the hearing? The interpretation, the principles, the articles are clear enough for the speaker to take that decision. But let's see. If the court has that mandate to interfere in the way the number 3 person should handle affairs in its own parliament, I don't know if they will want to abide by the ruling of the court. If that
this is a directive. This is a directive from the court to Speaker of Parliament.
Yes. I don't know if he will oblige. I don't know if he will oblige. Because for me, it amounts to interference. And these are, institutions of state performing their own functions. But you see, can you imagine that Mr. Afenyomarkins and Co. are arguing to the fact that, I have sent this matter to the Supreme Court. So it means that the Speaker should not have acted at all.
Mm.
We were here when they sent the issue of e-levy to the Supreme Court. The President was supposed not to sign the e-levy, yet he went ahead. What did the Supreme Court do about it? What did they do about it? The only thing he told us was that, government should collect the money and the revenue that will accrue from it. If at the end of the day, the rule that the e-levy is not right or whatever, then they will have to give us all our money. Where has that gotten to now? Where has that gotten to now? So, only the Supreme Court, the constituent, the composition, the perception, the public perception of the Supreme Court is so woeful that they will have to cleanse themselves. Because other than that, I am foreseeing that should there be a change in government, it is either they render them redundant, probably they render them redundant, and that person will equally pack the Supreme Court with people that refuse that they have his orientation. At the end of the day, what are we doing? We are bastardizing a institution and an arm of government. That is something that we must all prevent.
This is something that many will agree with you, because President Tekufado, when there was a request for him to add about 5 Supreme Court justices to the bench, many criticized that is a bad precedent we are setting. Now, from what you're talking about, if government should change, it means that the next government would also want to pack the Supreme Court with its politically affiliated justices,
and they will be handling cases. It is either the Chief Justice will empanel the people that the executives will be interested in to handle affairs at the court, or they will hound her out of that office by using all manner of legal, means. We're here when Person was hounded out of office. A Chief Justice could easily do something of that sort. Because if you are an impediment to the way government wants to do things, then they will find a way of removing you. This is what we have to prevent. We want the institution to be free and fair and work without any kind of interference and influence. But how does it happen that somebody goes to court today when we are told that it is not the regular period that the court sits? Suddenly they sit. They empanel because somebody's house is burning. Do you think that the Chief Justice is free? She is not. She is not. And she's not acting, independently. Nobody can convince me otherwise. That is the problem. We have virtually bastardized every state institution. So you see, if it's a matter of constitutional review, we may have to relook at the way and manner all these state offices are appointed. We need to have a relook if we really want this democracy to survive, because it will get to a point that it will talk some people and they will take the law into their own hands. By the time you say that, our democracy is destroyed and we may have to start all over again. We don't want to get there.
I see. Well, we go to the Supreme Court to interpret laws. The 1992 Constitution, Article 97, is clear on this matter, but the Supreme Court says otherwise. I'm sure that the Speaker of Parliament will not be a happy man as we speak. But what do you anticipate the kind of mood in the next sitting?
Well, MPP said through Appoint that, well, they will not go to Parliament until they have received a determination by the court. Well, the determination says that they should stay execution. And that is it. So it means that when Parliament reconvenes on Tuesday, they may report seeing themselves as the majority leader. But you see, the way and manner the majority leader restored has addressed the Speaker, I am wondering how their relationship will be like. I'm wondering how their future relationship will be like. Even a such a person who is probably an age mate of Mr. Babin did not address the Speaker in such a ridiculous, in that using certain diatribe against the Speaker, even when they disagreed. This young man has overreached himself, very arrogant, displaying and calling the Speaker all manner of names. I don't know how he's going to relate with the Speaker. I don't know how the Speaker is going to relate with him going forward. But you see, you cannot just, on the altar of politics, misspeak, harass, hound people, call them all manner of names in the name of politics. I said that when this happened, he displayed emotional immaturity. And that is what he has consistently been doing. And the Supreme Court, in their own wisdom, think that this is how the status quo ante should be. So be it. Let's see what happens. I don't know if the Speaker will accept this particular ruling. And if he does not, how he's going to go about it. And I pray that this particular stay of execution will not last long. And it will not be like Domlevo. When the ruling came out, the effect was what? Nothing but a cost 90. That brings the integrity of the Supreme Court into dispute. And some questions ought to be asked. That is why I've said that if this is how it is going to go, then it means that whenever there is a change of government, we cannot in any way mount a moral high ground if that president also decides to pack the court. So let's see what Tuesday brings when Parliament is reconvened, and let's see how it goes. But I hope they will rule on this matter before this Parliament goes down.
Doc, thank you so much for your time this evening. That's Dr. Jonathan Asante-Otri, who is a political science analyst and also a lecturer, senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, disagreeing with what's the ruling of the Supreme Court. Well, it's been back-to-back discussions on this particular matter, from how it began and where we have reached now. In case you missed something, my colleague Avila Kekeli is the best man to bring you every bit of information you need to know in Parliament. He's put together this report. Take a listen.
The situation unfolded when a former minority leader and MP for Tamale South, Haruna Idrisu, during a campaign rally in Tamale, assured party loyalists that the minority will soon seize the majority position in Parliament.
On Tuesday, the Parliament of Ghana will reconvene. And when it reconvenes, I am very certain that Parliament and Ghana will go through a major constitutional test. And that constitutional test is that the NDC minority must become the majority from Wednesday next week. And this must happen if there is constitutional and legal proprietary in Ghana.
In response, the majority caucus, led by Afenyo Markin, recognizing the potential implication of this statement, swiftly sought legal recourse at the Supreme Court.
the members of my caucus who have filed to go independent for the next election have not written to me as the head of the caucus to say that they are no more part of the caucus. So, in my capacity as the majority leader, I have filed a writ at the Supreme Court. Parliament has been duly served. There is an injunction application also attached to the writ, also duly served. Therefore, I believe that if we are going to respect the law, this matter will be placed on ice until the Supreme Court determines the matter.
However, undeterred, on the first day of the fourth meeting of the fourth session of the 8th Parliament of the Fourth Republic, Minority Leader Kaisel Atoforsen brought to the attention of the Speaker, the Right Honourable Adban Bagbin, the decisions of 4 MPs who had filed nomination under different political platforms than those they currently represented in Parliament, creating a potential breaches of Articles 97, Clause 1G and H of the Constitution.
Mr. Speaker, this ruling was not contested and has still not been contested and remain good and valid as a rule of this House. Right Honourable Speaker, we therefore call on you to enforce the existing ruling of this House based on Article 97 1G and H. That decision, Mr. Speaker, applies to all 4 ex-members of Parliament, namely Honourable Peter Pachiaka, Honourable Andrew Amwaku Esiama, Honourable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, and Honourable Kojo Asante.
Honorable Peter Yaokwachi Aka, who is NDC Member of Parliament, is contesting as an independent candidate. Honorable Andrew Esiama Amwako, independent candidate, now contesting under the NPP banner. Honorable Kojo Asante, NPP candidate, is running as an independent candidate. Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, an NPP MP, is also contesting as an independent candidate. Atoforsen insisted, based on this precedent, these MPs should vacate their seats in the House. This led to intense debate, with the majority status now at the center of contention. The Speaker promised to render a ruling on the matter within 2 days.
Me, not Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, but Speaker of Parliament. That office, not me in person. So he's taking that to the Supreme Court. I also listened to the comments on the proper venue. So please kindly give me these 2 days and I'll come here with a well-written ruling. I will submit it to all of you so that at the end of the day, justice would have not only been done, but would have been seen.
Both parties remain optimistic that the Speaker's decision will favor them. On Thursday, October 17, after a prolonged wait, the Speaker finally took his seat to commence the day's proceedings.
The members are Honorable Peter Yaokwachi Aka, NDC MP for Amenfi Central in the Western Region, now referred to as an independent parliamentary candidate for the same constituency. Honorable Andrew Amwako Asiama, independent member for Fomna constituency in Ashanti region, now referred to as MPP parliamentary candidate for the constituency. Honorable Kojo Asante, MPP MP for Suhum in the Eastern region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency. And finally, Honorable Cynthia Mamle Morrison, MPP MP for Aguna West constituency in the Central region, now referred to as independent candidate for the same constituency. These MPs cannot be allowed by law and my good self to continue to pretend to be representing people that they don't believe in and they don't have any loyalty for in this House any longer.
The ruling was delivered, but the majority caucus, led by Afenyu Makin, attempted one final gambit. The Speaker, however, remained resolute. In protest, the minority caucus staged a walkout, announcing they would boycott parliamentary proceedings until the Supreme Court rendered its decisions.